guys, welcome back to iZap TV, talking about the news that matters where you are and where we are, which is in Brasov, Romania. I'm Dyanna Wilson, your host for the next couple of weeks at the International Film Festival of Brasov with Donny of television and film screen. And so last night was our first night of competition, and we got to see the Cuban film called The Silly Agent. And
what did you think about it?
I really loved it. The cinematography on it was stunning. Some of the angles that they were able to capture. There's a train station angle, and there's very little dialogue. I mean, there's definitely speaking going on, and it's moving the plotline along. But each of the main characters, it's a story about a little boy and his grandmother after his mother had been estranged from her for a few years, and these three individuals getting used to each other's space. And it's in the middle of the Cuban Revolution, and this kid, he couldn't have been more than 9 or 10, Ivan Carriera, just amazing.
He did an amazing job. I mean, all of us, worldwide, we all have that silly age that we grow up, and the positions they put this young actor in that would be uncomfortable for a lot of people, pulled it off effortlessly, and he did an amazing job doing it. After watching this film, have you changed your opinion on foreign film?
Absolutely. And, first of all, I was still a little concerned that I was going to have to be reading the subtitles, but I found that my eye was catching the subtitles faster, and I was able to go back up to what was happening in the scene. And like you said before, they put this kid in these insanely awkward situations. He's learning how to kiss. Again, he's around 10 years old. And his grandmother walks in on him in his bed kissing this figurine of a saint.
And Virgin Mary, I believe.
And this one was very serious about her saints, but she snickers a little after calling him a heretic because she kind of understands of where he is at this point in his life and just why he might be practicing on this figurine to learn how to kiss. And I also thought it was pretty remarkable that again, this is a non-violent film festival, but it wasn't unreal. Like the scene where he's at a boarding school for the first time and there's a child pestering him, and he picks up his pencil and stabs the kid in the hand.
I like that part.
But it was appropriate.
Yeah.
And it worked, and you could feel the pain in these people's lives as then Castro took over Cuba and forcing a lot of the citizens to leave and come to the United States. And it wasn't an overly political film. That wasn't the point of it. It just put it into a period reference. And so I loved it. The costuming was spectacular. Every aspect of this film I thought was...
The acting, the cinematography, the screenplay.
It was great.
On. I love the shots of the cinematography. They're very simple and still shots sometimes, but the way they framed them up and the lighting, I really enjoyed the film.
So yes, to answer your very long question, or your very short question with a very long answer, it has changed my opinion, and I'm very excited tonight.
After the film last night, I got to interview Giuseppe Varlatta, and he is the director of the film we get to see tonight. It's an Italian film called Zoe, and it's set during World War II in Italy, and I am a World War II buff, so I'm actually kind of excited to see what he does with this. And I was able to interview him last night. He told me where the film was made, what his kind of his thoughts while making it, and some of his ideas that he has for upcoming films. And he kind of holds his cards close to the chest, but I'm excited to see this film tonight. I am too, and just to be able to, you've had a film in a film festival, actually this year you had one at Cannes, and to get to see people who are getting to see their work on the screen, and to look around and see other people's reaction to it. I mean, you get to create something. There's such a buzz when people are excited to see not their own film, but when you see other people around you that are coming to see your film, and there's lines going outside the door, and some people are having to be turned away because there's not enough seats. And I had one film that was at Cannes, and that was Cold War. I wish I could have made it to that festival. Hopefully I'll have to make it there again. And then at Austin Film Festival this last year, we had Deep in the Heart, and they had 3 screenings, and every screening they had to turn people away. And I know that these filmmakers that are here, they're excited to have their work seen, and it does have an amazing buzz about it.
Now, the purpose of this film festival is very pointed in that Bruno and Daria are wanting to bring this industry to specifically Brasov, not just Romania, but specifically the region of Transylvania and Brasov. And being from Texas is kind of that alternative market. We've definitely got a stronghold in the films that we produce, but just I can see why somebody would want to come here to film and create something like they would Texas. It's got this nice buzz about it, very unique, sort of independent-minded market. And then we've kind of been in and out of listening to some things from home, and very sad to hear about the events of the Batman premiere of Dark Knight Rising in Colorado.
At the opening of midnight screening in Colorado, a young deranged gunman, 23 years old, goes in with a gas mask, and he had a shotgun, automatic rifle, and a pistol, and they said he just started shooting everyone. There was, I believe it was 18 killed, 57 wounded, 11 of those were critical.
And our hearts truly do. They're broken. We didn't realize that that was happening back home, and it goes out to those families. I couldn't imagine that.
There have been stories released today talking about heroes in that were in the theater there in Colorado that were able to save some people. The gunman was caught alive, and this is the greatest massacre in our country since what happened at Fort Hood, Texas, when the psychiatrist that worked in the military killed 13 people, and probably the one before that was Columbine, when another 2 kids went through a school killing, I believe 17 were murdered there before they shot themselves. And so hopefully this doesn't happen ever again, and hopefully not anytime soon. So
but it raised an interesting point that you and I started to talk about, in that violence is definitely a part of a great number of films, to the point now that Batman has pulled one of its trailers due to respect of the family members and what's happening. And when I see a film, I definitely can tune my mind out. I have a suspension of disbelief. I check out. It's what I do. I want to go be entertained. And I'm not influenced by, I would say, classic fiction style things, superheroes and that nature. What do you think is going to be the result of this? Do you feel like maybe Hollywood might start pulling back some of its extreme levels that it's going to? I mean, obviously, The Dark Knight Rising, all of the Batman films have had, from the earlier ones, they had the kitschy violence, and now very serious violence with the Joker. I mean, this man was identifying with this character in the show.
He told the police that I am the Joker, and he's just a deranged young man. Now, you asked me a question, is Hollywood going to pull back on violence? I know the answer. No, it's not. We as a society, we've seen everything, haven't we? And what filmmakers want to do is they want to show us something that we've never seen before. And so to be recognized, you've got to push the envelope. How far are we going to push that envelope? The people here in this film festival, they're so passionate about it being a non-violent film festival. I was talking to one of the judges who is from Italy, and her passion is making projects that aren't violent. And I was telling her a statistic that I read there in the States. Before a child is even 18 years old in the States, we've probably seen around 150,000 deaths on television. Is that making us insensitive to death?
Well, I'm wondering now, are we seeing that films are being created? Again, I want to be entertained. I want to go in, and sometimes I want it to be silly, and I want it to be mindless. And sometimes I feel like some of the things that they're creating, they're pushing these envelopes. It's just, that's really tough. It's really tough to know if they're pushing the envelope because it's genuinely entertaining, or we're scared to admit that we don't like something because we don't want to appear as though we're not intelligent. Like, oh, you don't like this film because you're not as intellectual as all of the rest of us. And we talked about another film that in '92 pushed an envelope, which was, very violent, but I found myself laughing at it at the time. It's absurdity.
I love Pulp Fiction. I think it's, in my opinion, I've said this before, it is the great American film. You're welcome, Tarantino. I think that the cast that they got on that and the characters that these people were able to bring together, and I don't see it as violent. And maybe that's because I, as a huge film watcher, I just start watching a film and I fall into the story, and I don't even think about somebody getting their head blown off in the back seat, and I just go on with the rest of the story, and maybe I have been desensitized.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the rest of the films throughout this program. Today, later on today, we're actually going to get to see another short.
Yep.
And
that is called Once Upon a Bench, and it's a French film. I believe they said it has English subtitles and it's in French, but it's about a Romanian guy that is found in France, and the woman he's talking to
is a Holocaust survivor.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that today.
And to just be able to tell a story, I'm always impressed that someone can tell a complete story in the length of a short. And you don't see, people are gearing away from the shorts a lot because there's not a lot of financial gain to them, but to find somebody who can create a script and find characters who are talented enough to tell an entire story in a short amount of time, I'm excited to see that. And we're definitely going to come back tomorrow morning once again. We're going to find another place in this park where this is right across the street from our hotel.
It's kind of like the Central Park of Brasov, and I wish that I could sit there and grab the camera and take you around to see everything. I wish we had places like this in Texas. I don't remember seeing anything like this. It's so immaculately clean, and the flowers and the statues and the people.
And people here all day long, and we will definitely go over and film. There's some really wacky workout equipment that I was on. I was on the other day, and some of it I could figure out, some of it I couldn't, but just loving this city and getting a chance to bring this back to you and to share this with my friend Donny, and from his perspective, like I said, that he's had films in competition and knows what that feels like. I'm really enjoying it. Stay tuned with us. We got about 9 more days? 9 more days of competition.
Lucky us.
Yeah, that's such a rough life we have. But stay with us. I'm Dyanna, talking about the news that matters where you are and definitely where we are.
Bye, guys.